Shit, I did in like 2019. I was listening to that shit.
Whole lot of talking going on, but niggas still ain't talking about shit. Please do not approach me with no bogus conversation about your only occupation. I just rolled up out the basement to a song that's on the station. It was roaches at the bottom. We used to dream a lot. I done did about everything, but made a queen about a thought. Now you can't hop up in this whip if you ain't ready just to go the distance. It's me and my solid couple niggas grinding independent. If that pussy right, I dive up in it. Pop off that spinach. You ain't heard the word, I handle business just like Michael Bivins. All that money coming new additions.
Nigga getting old and we going off the door. I feel like I was in here first because it's my first time recording. Like,
Either one of them two niggas lock. You know what I mean? Don't stop. And that's a big fact.
we used to roll the switch, you might see us on the block, might catch us up and then see the way this shit go.
Look, ash that roach up in the candle. Put that shit up on the mantle. Cut the lights and cut the channel. Lace my ones, it's time to scramble. Watch how niggas tryna can you. When you hot, they wanna fan you. How the fuck he from Atlanta wearing Dickies with a flannel? My swagger is different, baby, I'm tri-coastal. It's like the seasons, you start to feel it when I approach you. I take the squad global everywhere in my disposal. Them niggas
Keep that one, and one more. I wanna see the rough, this shit. That's it.
And it was roaches at the bottom. We used to dream a lot. I done did about everything, but made a queen about a thought. Now you can't hop up in this whip if you ain't ready just to go the distance. It's me and my solid couple niggas grinding independent.
That's all rough.
That bitch stupid.
If you act out, niggas like to play the big role and causing this. And we ain't never been the one to pull a man's down. But you can get the whole clip if you act out. Niggas like to.
That's how I feel like I'm doing right now. That's exactly what I feel like I'm doing right now. It's some gnarly shit. That's fine.
Ready? I'm Cleo Corinne, and I'm here with
Classic Kell for Stealth Magazine. Yeah.
All right, well, welcome and welcome back. I'm Cleo Corinne, and today we're in the studio with the one and only Classic Kell.
What up?
What up? So we're going to talk a lot about a lot of stuff today. I really want to talk about, your most recent project, the Classic Tape Volume 1. So just a lot of stuff I want to talk about today, but I'd like to start with you just giving like a quick introduction, a little snapshot. I always do that. Who is Classic Kell?
Classic Kell is just a nigga from the south side of Atlanta. They got into music. That's really it.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah.
I do music, and I'm from the south side of Atlanta.
Nice
You know
and
what I mean?
simple, to the point.
Straight to the point.
Right. So what would you say makes you classic? Like, how do you embody that? Because I feel like, and we'll talk more about it, but I do feel like there is kind of like a classic element to your music, kind of like a timeless element to it. But like, how do you feel like you embody being classic?
That literally what
Yeah.
you just said. How I got the name Classic, or how I came up with the name Classic, was just like, if I do some shit, like if I want to jump in this music shit, like what I want it to be, or what I wanted to, like when I leave music, you know what I mean? I don't want to be just another nigga that,
Right.
kind of fell to the wayside. So it's like, I just try to measure everything that I do to try to make it a classic.
Right.
And then, so I just took it on. I was just like, I'm going to just call myself Classic and just try to make that shit like my bar.
Right.
And just, just kind of stand up to that.
Right. So you say when you leave music, so you don't want to be doing music necessarily forever. Do you have like a certain time period that you want to be doing music, or a certain number of projects you want to do, or how do you approach it?
Nah, it's I don't feel like, I'm not going to say when I leave music, but I will say in the sense of like, I do music off of how I'm feeling. You know what I mean? So I'm not like it's like I was telling one of my homies the other day, like, you know, I got this project, I got the Klassic tape done, but then after the Klassic tape, like, I already had the title for my new project like a week later, because I already had a vision of like, okay, like I got goals in music, you know what I mean? So, and I got goals, and my goals come in like projects. So each project, I'm trying something new, you know what I mean? So as long as I stay inspired to like keep going and keep doing shit, then I'm gonna keep going and I'm gonna keep doing shit. But if I'm not inspired, I'm gonna just sit back and I'm gonna just kick it until I get inspired, and then, you know, then I'll be back in the studio. But when I'm not inspired, you know what I mean, I just kind of watch. I just look to see what's going on, and when I see some inspiration, I just take it and I just break it up into like little. I take one idea and I just figure out how can I take this one idea and then break it up into 8 songs, 10 songs, 12 songs. Like, how can I take sneakers and talk about the Nike check in one song, but then I'm gonna talk about how you can't walk in my shoes in another song. You know what I mean? Then I might use laces as a double entendre in a whole nother song. You know what I mean? Just taking the idea and just breaking it down to like just particles. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I know we were talking a little bit like before we started. I write poetry, so that's kind of like my thing. But I can't write when I'm not inspired. Like, I know some people can just like sit down and like force themselves to create and just, you know, like whatever. But I wrote a book of poetry and then I haven't written anything in like 2 years, you know, because you gotta live, and like you just gotta kind of go through the motions of it like a little bit, and then you can come back and create and kind of like release and purge and like get the things off your chest. But I feel you gotta have something to, like,
you definitely gotta have something. I agree 100% with that.
So it's a little random before we start talking more about music, but I saw that you had a tattoo that says better than yesterday. Right? So it's pretty simple, but I like tattoo stories. So when'd you get the tattoo? What made you get it? And kind of like, what does it mean to you every day?
Man, so I probably got the tattoo like 3 years ago. My homegirl Winter, we was having a conversation, and we was just talking about everything that we just trying to do in life. And she summed it up. She was like, basically, we just trying to be better than yesterday. And I was like, damn, that shit hard. I was like, bro, we need to go get that shit tatted. And so, you know, most of the time you just be talking. And then one day, I want to say like 2 weeks later, I just woke up and I called her. And I was like, I think I was off. It was my off day at work. And I was like, bro, let's go get these tattoos today. So we just found a little tattoo parlor on in fucking Gwinnett somewhere. And we just went to that shit and just, she got it in her arm. I got it on my leg. So we both, you know what I mean? That's something that represents both of us. You know what I mean? So that was that. That's you know what I mean?
Do you look at it every day and like remind yourself or like think of a way or try to like really be intentional every day with how you can be better than you were yesterday, or like even in little ways, like how does it kind of manifest itself?
I actually be forgetting this on my leg. I be forgetting, man. I
forget about my tattoo.
Right, and that's the thing, man. I got this tattoo on my back. I don't never like, you know what I mean? You definitely don't see that. So I be walking around with my shirt off, and
people be like, "Oh, what does that mean?" And I'm like,
I'm like, damn, bro, I forgot all about this. I forgot, you know what I mean? But damn, what was you saying?
Just does it just serve as a reminder to you to try to be better than you were yesterday, or just, you know?
Yeah, I think more or less, I think it's not really about the tattoo. You know what I mean? I feel like the tattoo is just the quote. But I think that it's already in my mind. Like, you know what I mean? When I make music, you know, when I'm working on this next project, if you want to, we can close that door. But I think that working on my next project, I want my next project to be better than the Klassic tape. And it's not saying on my next shit I'm trying to outdo the Klassic tape. Like, I'm not trying to compare it at all. But on my next shit, I want to step everything up. So I think that's like my way of being better than yesterday. It might not be literal, but the last shit that I did, whether in life, whether that be going to fucking, whether that be cooking some shit today, then and that shit ain't come out that good. And when I try to cook it next week, I'm gonna try to think like, damn, what the fuck I did wrong. Can we curse?
Yeah.
Oh,
Say
okay,
cool.
but I'm gonna be like, damn, you know, what I do wrong last time around? Like maybe I added too much garlic powder or something, and then I might go easy on it this time just to figure it out. So yeah, I think that's just like it's a life thing for me.
You gotta let the ancestors guide you when you're cooking.
Man,
you know,
see,
you gotta feel
I be hearing that shit, man. I be hearing that
It's
shit.
so
I'm
true.
for sure a by the measure nigga.
Are
like,
you? No.
I'm for sure be like, I done fucked a lot of shit up like that.
I
though.
hear you.
Like I done fucked, man. I remember.
Because you're not listening to the ancestors.
I'm not listening
They
to
wouldn't
them.
lead you in the wrong direction.
Nah, you are absolutely right. But them directions definitely led me in the wrong direction. So you are absolutely right. The stuff that I do know how to cook, though, I cook that shit like. I cook that shit.
What do you
with ease.
usually cook?
Man, I'm a basic ass nigga, man.
Okay, that's fine.
I make salmon.
I love salmon. That's easy.
I just learned how to make turkey wings.
Okay, turkey wings.
So that was like real new.
Yeah.
That was real new to me.
Did you like bake them or like how did you do them?
I baked them and then I pan-seared them.
Okay, gotcha.
So it was like, you know what I mean? I mean, just regular shit, chicken.
I feel you.
Just, you know
I
what
love
mean?
cooking.
I just season my shit up nicely.
That's all you. That's the most important part. You just gotta put the love in it.
Absolutely.
I feel like if you don't have music playing in the kitchen and you're not drinking a little alcohol, you're not doing it right. Like you gotta have those two things.
For sure.
You really gotta set the vibe for the food.
Nah, you definitely do. You definitely do. You definitely do.
It's cool. So, can you take us back a little bit? I want you to describe a little bit more kind of when you really locked in with music. Because it doesn't sound like it's something you've been doing, you know, like your whole life.
Yeah.
But kind of when did you get serious about it? What made you want to get serious about it?
Man, what made me get serious about it, because I quit so many times.
Yeah.
So, all my homies was doing music when we was, like, all the niggas that's NYP, Marv, Lou, G's, Leah, like, they've been doing music since we was in high school.
Right.
So I was just another nigga in the crew.
Right.
Like, I was just a part of the gang. And then after school, you know what I mean, after we graduated and shit, you know, when you 18, 19, we really around each other all day now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not even like we at school no more. Like, now, we out of school. Some people in college, some people ain't in college, some people doing online classes. So now we really hanging out all day. And so they recording, and when they would be recording, they'd be pulling beats. I would just be writing shit, but I never really tried. Like, I never really tried to spit this shit. I would just, you know what I mean? Just because that's what everybody in the room doing. So, did that shit. I did that shit for like 5 years.
Yeah.
Just on and off, like, I ain't doing this shit. And then when I turned 24, I was like 23, 24, I was just like, man, I'm gonna really try this shit. Like, I'm gonna really try to do some shit. So once I really started catching rhythms to songs, once I really started understanding how to rap, you know what I mean? Because I'm not one of them niggas that, you know, you got some people, it's just like, you just put them to a mic and they just catch on like that. Like, that shit was like I had 2 left feet rapping when I first started. So, you know what I mean? Once I finally broke through all that shit, once I finally learned how to catch the rhythm, once I finally got comfortable rapping on the beat, and I was just like, I'm gonna just try to put out my first song. And did that. Did a couple songs after that. Then Klassic tape, I was like, try to do my first project. And here we are.
Gotcha. What would you say has changed from like the first song you put out to when you put out the Klassic tape? What did you kind of learn along the way? How did you go from feeling like you had 2 left feet to, I think, like, you sound really confident like when you rap. And I think I watched the video, I think it was More Bars Please, the kind of like freestyle series. So how did you, and you sounded really confident then too, how did you, what kind of things did you do? Was it like studying? Was it just like working a muscle? How did you go from feeling really unsure, like unconfident, to feeling like you could really do it?
I think that I rap with the confidence that I got now because I worked so hard to get here. You know what I mean? Like, I tell the homies all the time. The homies know too. Like, bro, I done heard back then. I done heard all the niggas that said I suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I heard all the. They would still put me on shit. I knew I sucked. You know what I mean? Just being 100 with myself. Like, I knew, like, damn, like, all these niggas sound good. And then my shit come in. And I know what I'm trying to do. But right now, I'm not capable of doing it. So I just kept working. So now I just really just pop my own damn shit. Like, I just. Now it's just like it's not that it ain't nothing that a nigga can't tell me now, but now it's like, bro, I don't work so hard to get where I'm at now. Like, I can't have slack. Like, anything that I do, it gotta. Cause even with my first song, like you said, what I learned from my first song to the Classic tape, my first song is a song called Carousel, and that was a good ass song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was a good ass song. And that was the first song where I felt like, damn, I'm confident enough to put some shit out. And that shit came out. And then in between Carousel and the Classic tape, I tried a lot of different shit.
Right.
So I seen what worked for me, and I seen what didn't work for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was like, but it all worked out in the end because I tried out a lot of shit. When I was able to go to the Classic tape, I was able to take a versatile approach, you know what I mean, to the project where, you know, Bogus Conversations don't sound like Don't Stop, you know what I mean, where Perfect Day don't sound like Everyday Life, you know what I mean, so it didn't, this song was the fan favorite, maybe this shit, when I dropped this shit, the numbers dropped, but at the end, I was still sharpening tools, you know what I mean, so it all worked out.
So, when you were growing up, were you, like, particularly interested in writing? Because I feel like you have a really, like, a storytelling approach to your lyrics. You know, you really kind of, like, paint a picture as opposed to just kind of, like, I feel like a lot of rappers just say random things and kind of, like, put it in together to a song. And it's kind of about something, but it doesn't really, like, tell a story. So, how did you get to writing? Have you always liked writing? Was that a way that you expressed yourself when you were younger? Or did it just kind of, like...
Nah, I was never a writer. I actually used to hate literature.
Really?
Yeah, I used to hate it. But my aunt, like, I give my aunt that credit because, and we talking about, this don't even have nothing to do with music, but just through my daily life, like, my aunt, like, we used to have to do, like, outlines, like, when we used to have to do, like, chapter readings and shit when we was in middle school. So we used to have to, like, write an outline on like the chapter that we read. So my aunt would, like, read over my shit, and she'll have this fucking red pen, and, like, let's say I've been working on this shit from 6 to 9. She'll read over that shit, and she'll just go through it and, like, just be crossing through the lines, and she'll be like, okay, instead of saying so-and-so, 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 and so-and-so in this sentence, what better words can you use to, instead of you saying 4 words, what word can you use to, you know, like, basically, like to sum this, you know what I mean? So it was like, I think that her doing that, like I said, it don't got shit to do with music for real. But I think that it got something to do with it. I just don't know what it had, you know what I mean? I just don't know what it have to do with it. But I think that when it comes to music and the storytelling, you know, element, I feel like I always gravitated to, like, more storytelling songs. So I always gravitated to niggas like Nas, to niggas like Scarface, niggas like Biggie, Jake, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I think that that's probably, like, my favorite part of hip hop is, like, being able to tell a story so vivid that when you listening to it, you can see it in your head as you listening to it.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because I always loved writing. Like, English was, like, my favorite class when I was growing up. But I think that a lot of kids probably, you know, don't gravitate towards writing, or that might not be their favorite subject because it's so boxed in, and they, like, want a certain response out of you, and they want it to be this and structured, and you can't, like, always have that freedom to be creative, you know. But I think once you are older and you have this experience that allows you to write, but just write what you want to write and talk about what you want to talk about and what's important to you in any way that you can. I think it really like opens up your mind and like your relationship with writing.
And with you saying that, it just made me think of some shit just now, which is, it just made me think of like how my mind worked. In the sense of like when I said your shoe, now I'm saying how I would break down your shoe. Like when I got to like high school and college, like when I would bullshit my papers, I would still get A's on my papers because I would take 1 or 2 sentences from like some shit that I read, and I would take this one sentence and I would break down the sentence that I read in the book into 5 sentences. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, even with the projects, like I would take some shit and I would just break it down. So it's like I don't really have to read a whole paper. You know what I mean? But I can read enough of it and I can just paraphrase that shit enough to be like, to make it look like I know what I'm talking about. But really, I'm just telling you the same thing over and over and over. But I'm just giving you like small little details in every other sentence. Like, that's different from what I said in the last one, but I'm really not saying nothing for real. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think
So you talked a little bit about your aunt and like kind of the impact that she had on you and those experiences that you had with writing. What else would you say? Maybe not even just like more, not even just as an artist, but as a person. What other things would you say have the most impact on you being an artist, and kind of like how did you develop the style that you have? Was it mostly listening to like the artists that you listened to growing up, or is it life, or kind of what is it, everything together that comes together and allows you to have the particular style that I feel like you have, or just what do you feel like brings the most out of you creatively?
Man, I know this shit sounds cliche as fuck. I feel like I do this shit for like my kids and like my grandkids and my great grandkids, because I feel like with music is the only thing that can really outlive people. You know what I mean? So it's like my dad died young. You know what I mean? When I was young. So I don't got no videos that I know what he sound like. I don't got like, you know how people just be having home videos. I be having pictures of them and shit, but sometimes I be wanting to know like what you think like. You know what I mean? Like what's your personality like? So I feel like through music, it's easy for me to be able to tell you about myself just by listening to my music. See, for you to tell what's my personality like, what's my sense of humor like, what's, what I sound like, you know what I mean? Just the basics. Like, so I feel like that's one of the things that like really influenced me in music. And then like I said, that, it's a lot of things, but that, and then I always feel like the South got shunned on, like, in the sense of like, especially like lyrics and shit. So it's like, some songs I'll make it my point, like, to show niggas like, nah, I can really rap. Like, I can really do this shit. And then some songs, I'm more focused on the song and trying to execute what I'm trying to do on the song, as opposed to showing niggas that I can rap. You know what I mean? And I think that those are really like my 2 biggest like influential things. Is like I said, just generations past me, and then just like I said, just the South. Like I feel like we getting respect. But I feel like when 10 years ago when I really wanted to do this shit, it was still like we wasn't getting it. So I just made it my point, like, let me do this shit.
What do you think changed in terms of like artists getting more respect, or just people looking at music differently? I don't know if you meant coming out of Atlanta in general, or like the South in general, but what do you think changed? Why do you think
as
people,
far as the South or just music?
Both maybe, or just how people like I guess receive it. You said you think that it's getting a little bit more respect now that you feel like it might have deserved a long time ago. Do you think like just times are changing and it's more like, what do you think it is?
I mean, I feel like that shit just undeniable now. You know what I mean? I feel like now, when you got one city that's been controlling the radio for the last 20 years, you know what I mean? It's still more. It's like I seen a nigga on Twitter the other day, like, South still ain't got no top 10 lyricists, and it's like, well, nigga, you from like
Right.
nigga, the niggas that you like, y'all had a 5-year run, a 10-year run, like, you know what I mean? And it's like lyricism to you is how many double entendres can this nigga say? How many, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, the game is so much broader than that. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to just, it's a lot of shit, man, it's so much shit. Like, you look at Andre, that nigga Andre, I always tell people, like, Outkast was the perfect combination. Because it's like they're the same person. They're just two different perspectives. You got Big Boy who telling you, I'm a pimp, and you my hoe. And then you got Andre who telling you the same thing, but I'm just comparing you to a flower.
Right.
And I'm comparing you to water. And I'm comparing you to all this. But I'm still sexually talking about you.
Right.
But I'm just comparing you to something else versus you got somebody that's telling you straight up, but he just kicking it to you in just the most played shit.
Right.
So it's like, they worked for a reason. Like, they stayed on topic. They just gave you the different perspectives of what they was talking about. So I feel like, you know what I mean, as far as the South, I feel like it's just undeniable now because it's like, it's so much talent, and I just feel like niggas shunned us, and it's like, bruh, in the 2000s, who can you say really came out? Like, now you got niggas like Detroit, you know what I mean, that's going crazy right now. You got like Memphis, that's going nuts right now. You know what I mean? You got LA, like, they coming back onto this shit. But, you know, for the, I'd say like the last 15 years, like, you know what I mean, those cities, you didn't hear much of them. Like, you might get an artist or two, but you didn't hear much. But it's like Atlanta, from now till fucking, I'd say 2004. You know what I mean? Like Jeezy, like early tip, like from then until now, like the shit just undeniable. Yeah. Like you can't shun us no more.
Right. Yeah. So. I agree. I mean, I think like early T.I., Young Jeezy had everybody in a chokehold. Like,
yeah, facts.
Everybody.
I wanted a snowman shirt.
Yeah.
I wanted a snowman shirt.
Exactly.
So bad.
Exactly.
Not knowing what the fuck it was.
Right.
But I wanted one so bad. And
people getting in trouble in school.
Yeah, people get in trouble. Like, the shirt got banned from schools.
Yeah, I think
like, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, bro, that's real cultural. Like, that's a cultural, like, that was a time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was, Trap or Die was a time. Like, I remember seeing the Trap or Die posters in the city.
Right.
I remember, like, I just remember that shit. So it's like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I mean, you know,
shit.
it just, I think Atlanta, and I think I've seen like shirts and stuff, but like Atlanta really does like control a lot of culture that people don't even realize, and it's just, you know, I had to, you know, remember today,
you know, you came the right way.
Yeah, but I think that it just, like you said, it is undeniable, and it permeates so many different avenues, and just so much comes with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just, you know. So you mentioned Andre 3000. I be going all through people's Instagram before we interview. So I saw that you met him somewhere, and you were talking to him for like a good little second.
Yeah,
so
thanks.
Where were you? What was that like? I have an Andre 3000 story, but it's not as cool as yours, so I'm gonna let you go first. But what did you make sure that you had to like say to him? What was that like?
I just thank that nigga.
Yeah.
Like, I just thank that nigga. Man, my parents grew up in the same neighborhood as them.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it was like, the roots was already there.
Yeah.
Like, the roots was there before. You know what I mean? Like, I got pictures. I got pictures, not with Andre, but I got pictures of, like, my uncles and Big Boy when they, like, 7, 8.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, when they young. So it's, like, at birthday parties and shit.
Right.
That's the funny part.
Yeah.
Like, but, and then it's like, I feel like, so going to Andre. So I was in LA. I was at Complex Con. And I just seen him, and I seen, you know, obviously a crowd of people around him. So I'm just talking to him, or I'm just letting them do whatever they do. So now I walk up to him, and I just thank him. Like, I'm just like, bro, you know what I mean? Like, I'm telling him, like, bro, I'm from College Park too. Like, you know what I mean? Like you not expecting to see me all the way out here in LA. You're not expecting to see somebody who grew up in the same area that you from. You know what I mean? My parents from East Point too. You know what I mean? Like we come from the same soil that you came from. So I feel like that shit off rip, like had him like it's a part in the video like where it's almost like he jumped back.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I had told him. Cause like I said, you in this big ass building out here in LA.
Right.
You don't expect for somebody that's like you being from fucking, you know, the smallest city in wherever town, and you in New York, and you meet somebody from that same city. It's gonna like, damn, like what school did you go to? It's gonna turn into one of them conversations, like, you know what I mean? It's gonna turn into one of them things. So I think it just turned into one of those conversations, like, you know, I'm telling him like, yo, my parents went here and yada yada yada. I'm thinking he went here, but I'm like, you went there too, and he was like, nah, I ain't go there. I went to McLaren. So now we just talking about the school he went to and shit. So it's just like, you know what I mean? It was just one of them conversations that the shit felt like a blur though.
Yeah,
like,
I bet.
Like I feel like afterwards, like it had to be caught on camera because I don't even know if I remember that conversation in my head, but in my head also I'm talking to Andre right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not talking to no regular dick. Like I'm talking to his name. We having a serious conversation, but you still Andre.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? So I think that it's just like the shit's just a blur.
Yeah,
But I still remember it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm sure it's like you'll always remember it, but like you said, it's like it's just those moments. I'm pretty sure like your senses were like heightened, but you were just like, you know, like you, of course you'll always remember that, but like I feel like I'm the type of person I would probably forget what we were actually talking about because I'm just talking to Andre 3000 like
shit like you jitters like
right.
Oh
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
What's your story?
I just used to work at Houston and I brought him some ketchup one time.
That's fine.
That's it.
That's fine. You know
That's it.
I
was really excited about it, but
yeah,
you know,
bro,
he was like,
I mean?
he was in there like sketching and like this big ass like sketchbook is really cool. But you know, it's like I was just fangirling. I had a moment, so. But
man, that shit real. I know my aunt got a story like that. She used to work at Six Flags.
Yeah.
And Tupac came and he told her that she had beautiful eyes.
Wow. That's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like certain shit like that is like, yeah, it's only a split second thing, but it's like that shit lasts with you forever. So and he don't even know that, but it's things like that make people like it's like a piece of their life that they just cherish. You know what I mean? Like you cherish yours, I cherish mine.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's dope though.
Absolutely.
Everything happens for a reason though. I always say that, and I feel like, you know, you being in the same room with him, no matter like all the crazy shit, you know what I mean? Like y'all's lives are on completely different paths, but for them to cross in that way, I think is really dope. So I'm sure you'll see him again. Yeah, he'll probably watch this one day. You know, we'll tag him in it.
For sure, we're gonna do a song together.
For sure. So back to the Klassic tape a little bit that you dropped in August, right? I think it was. So not that long ago. How long did it take from like beginning to end, like you feeling like you were ready to release it? What were some memorable moments from the project, and like did you learn anything in particular?
So I started the project in August. No, I started the project. I'm tripping. I started the project in September.
Okay.
Last year. I started at Tree Sounds. Started recording at Tree Sounds. I did a few sessions at Tree Sounds. Ended up coming back to home base and finishing it all here. I say it probably took like 6-7 months.
Okay.
Maybe like 6-7 months. Cause I really had the project pretty much done by like I'd say March.
Right.
I pretty much had it done, and then went through some shit in life, and I didn't even want to think about music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like one of them real life moments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's just like this shit on pause right now. You know what I mean? So I would say had in March, went through the shit I went through in life. Then I started picking it back up in like late May, June.
Okay.
And so late May, June, I want to say I recorded like, what song did I record? The last song, Heart to Heart, which was going through all the shit that I was going through. So that was like the moment where it was like, damn, okay, I just went through all this shit, but this is an emotion that the album needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I did that shit pretty much. If anybody want to know what the fuck I was going through, just go listen to Heart to Heart. You know what I mean? In a couple months, listen to that song and you'll understand.
Right.
You know what was up. But did that. And what's the last?
Just what you learned, and you know,
from
maybe about yourself or about the creative process, or how do you feel like you came out differently after you had released the project?
I think that I learned. What did I learn? That's a good question.
I know I asked very loaded questions. So.
Yeah, damn, that's a great question. I know I learned something.
Yeah.
I know I learned something. I'll say one of the things. Damn, that's a good ass question. Shit.
You want to come back to it? We can come back to it.
Yeah, let's come back to it.
Okay, that's cool. So, can you break down the project a little bit more? I know, like you just said, with Heart to Heart, like, we can listen to that song and really know what you were going through. But what was the vision, I guess, going into it? What did you want it to look like? How did you execute it? Do you feel like you had to change your vision at all when you were creating it? Or just, you know, what did you want it to be when you created it?
So when I chose to just start making it, the Klassic tape was just, I want to say 3 goals. It was to focus on becoming a better songwriter, displaying versatility, and what I want to say, almost like telling a story.
Okay.
Now, the story element didn't necessarily work out because I wanted to tie the tape all into one thing.
Right.
But when I was listening to it, it didn't sound like that was just to me, that's an idea for another day, another project.
I got you.
You know what I mean? So that's still in the somewhere. You know what I mean? Somewhere it'll happen.
Yeah.
But like I said, songwriting. That's why I did. You know, that's why I did Southside. You know, Southside was just like. Southside is probably the most unfocused songwriting song that I had on the project because when my homie Micah brought me the beat, it was, I mean, the sample going through the song is on the south side of the city. So it's like, it was like, I gotta talk about the south side on this song. So it's like, you know, I'm not even really focused on, even though I'm still songwriting, even though I'm still telling my life on the south side, I'd say that was like one of the least focused songs. But then you go to the next song, which is like Perfect Day. That was the story. So that was just like trying to tell a day from good. That was inspired by Good Day by Ice Cube. So that was like, damn, if Ice Cube, like this is Ice Cube, like, you know, today I ain't even have to use my 8K. Like whatever was his perfect day, what is my perfect day? That was his good day. What is my perfect day? So that went into that song, Perfect Day. Next song I want to say it was Everyday Life. That was just like what I do, like, you know what I mean? What do I do? And Everyday Life, I say Everyday Life for real might be like my favorite song on the album, just cause I don't know, that shit, when I heard that shit, like, that was the song that sparked the whole project. Like, when I made that song, I was like, yeah, I gotta build something around this. Definitely. And it was supposed to start as 4 songs. And then when I got to 4 or 5 songs, I was just like, damn, I can like add on some more shit to this, you know what I mean? And it turned into what it is now. So it was really just, like I said, my songwriting and just showing that I can make a perfect day, I can make an everyday life, and then I can make a don't stop, because we sitting in this studio and we literally 5 minutes away from Magic City. You know what I mean? So it's like, damn, okay, I got something smooth for the ladies, but at the same time, it's like, I want to do something girls can have fun too. You know what I mean? So it's like, let me just, like, my thought process was with that song, was like, bro, we 5 minutes away from the club. Like, even if it didn't get played in Magic, or even if it don't, it's like, shit, let me just do my best attempt at making something that I think can go in it. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's just songwriting, my best attempt at it.
I do feel like the project was the word that kept coming in mind for me was like dynamic. I think you said versatile, but definitely just having those very different styles, but it all like still came back together like as a very cohesive project. I really appreciate that. Yeah. So who would you say are like some other artists that were really pivotal in you making the project, that were like featured on it or helped produce for it, and how did they help kind of shape it? Did they bring in anything that you wouldn't have thought of otherwise, or just like having different perspectives? Like what was that process like working with other people?
I think it's everything you said. Literally everything you just said. The project wouldn't be the project without everybody that was on the project. Like it wouldn't be that project, because if I did the project by myself with no features, to me, it'd be flat. It'd be flat. But Andy provided something that I couldn't do. I can't sing. You know what I mean? So you sing to the girls. Let me do the verses, but you sing to the girls. You know what I mean? You could do that. Corduroy on If I Wasn't Rapping. That's like me. I'm just, I grew up in the city, but I ain't turned into, to an extent, I ain't turned into a product of the city. But that's one of my homies that's like, nigga, we homies, but you did almost 3 years in prison, and we the same age. You know what I mean? You got a different perspective on life than what I got. You know what I mean? So it's like, tell your story on this shit. Like if I'm saying if I wasn't rapping, this would be some of the shit that I would be doing. If you weren't rapping, and that's why the contrast in our verses is so different. That like he said, his verse like, if I wasn't rapping, still had dreams of that McLaren while I'm walking down the Ave with my pistol off of safety. Like that's really your life. Me, I ain't walking down the street like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not walking that shit. So it's just like everybody that came, like I said, you know, shout out to YFP, shout out to DM, shout out to Micah, you know, shout out to Seven, shout out to Scott, you know what I mean, for engineering the project and making sure the shit sound good, you know what I mean? I feel like everybody did, everything that everybody did brought something to the project that I couldn't bring, because I don't think like y'all niggas. You know what I mean? Y'all niggas think the way y'all think. I think the way I think. So it's just like I just did my best at trying to just feel like, all right, at creating like a perfect marriage on the song. Like that's what I. So yeah, shout out to, I feel like everybody. Shout out to all y'all. Yeah, it was like I said, just going back to the versatility. Everybody kind of, like you said, brought something really different and really unique and like a certain sound, and it just came together again. Really nicely. So, fuck with it. Thank you so much.
Of course. So I grew up around instruments in the house. I played violin for a long time. All of my siblings, I'm one of four, so we all played the violin growing up. And then my two oldest brothers played the piano. And so I can still, you know, do a little something, but I haven't picked up my violin in like a long time. But still, so when I hear like that live instrumentals, like, or instruments rather, on a track, especially hip hop, it makes me really happy because like you're so used to just hearing certain kind of sounds in hip hop, and just, you know, the same old, and then it makes everything sound the same, exactly. So when I hear like real instruments, I just turn into a nerd. So I really gravitated towards like the sax on 50/50 was one, and then I think the cello on Everyday Life. Like I just love, love strings, So
that's wild.
So
I didn't even know it was a cello.
I know, So I hear it, and like that's the first thing that I'm like, I listen to the words, but like when I first listen to music, like if the music doesn't get me, like I just can't even, you know, I just can't sit with it. So so those were a couple of songs that I really gravitated towards. I know you said Everyday Life was kind of like, that was the song that like really made you want to put the project together, but like do you have any other songs that like you really resonate more like with than certain songs, or like what are your favorites?
Like I said, I feel like every song just, that's cliche as fuck too. That's cliche as
I know
fuck
they're
too.
all like, you know.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Every song got its own. Yeah. Every song got its own thing. I feel like that's why that you know what I mean, that you pointed out those instruments too, because I'm a fan of. You know what? I am a fan. I didn't know that was a cello.
I think it's a cello.
Like,
It sounds like a cello. Yeah.
I didn't know what the fuck that was, but I know I like whatever that shit is playing. It just sounds good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It sounds good. And then like you said, 50-50. 50-50, man. I made 50-50 in 2017.
Okay.
So I made that song 4 years ago. But that was one of them songs. Like Scott, that's Scott's favorite song. Scott tell me like out of every song I made, like, and he been begging me to put that song out like the last 3 years, and I'm like, nah, cause that song needed more than just to be put out and just be, you know what I mean? That song needed something else around the shit. So, you know, it was one of them songs that 50-50 for the longest, like I say, like from a pure emotion standpoint, I wrote that song on some real pissed off shit. You know what I mean? I probably wrote that song in, I don't know, like 15, no, probably not 15. I'd say like 20-30 minutes. Okay. Just because it's like when you do poetry, like when you get an emotion, it's like that shit just start flowing. So it's like it really rhyming comes easy. Like you just in the zone at that point. So 50-50, I love 50-50 because the emotion that it was showing. The same with Heart to Heart. Like I said, Everyday Life just give me like this like New York feel. Like it just sound like get up. It sound like hustle and bustle. Like when I hear it, that's why I feel like I started it with like ash that roach up in the candle, put that shit up on the mantle, cut the lights. It's like come on, we gotta go. Like you know, we gotta like it just like that was like if I could say like that was my best attempt at like sounding like nigga like Nas or something. Like that's just how I felt when I was writing that shit. Like it's some shit like I feel like Nas writing this shit right now. You know what I mean? So do that shit. Perfect Day, like I said, Perfect Day for the longest was like my favorite song that I've ever wrote to this day. Because how descriptive I got in that song. Just like, you know, how some of the effects that we put in the song to enhance the song, like that shit to me, like that shit need a Grammy. For real. That motherfucker need a whole Grammy out here. Like that motherfucker need to be in best song. I might drop that song every year until that motherfucker get recognized for real. Like I might put that song on every project. Bonus track, Perfect Day. Like y'all niggas see that shit. But it's because, like I said, I feel like that's the perfect song. Like when it comes to storytelling, that's the perfect song. It's 3 verses, no verses taken out. Man, that shit just perfect. That song's just perfect.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Thank you.
Of course. So, switching gears a little bit, we talked a little bit earlier about like freestyling when you did the segment for More Bars, Please. I thought we could try to like weave that into the interview a little bit, just like the concept of freestyling. You don't have to if you don't want to. It would be dope if you did. But I just have like a few words that I just want to, if you don't want to freestyle, because like I said, I'll put you on the spot. Okay. But you could just tell me like the first thing that comes to mind, or like a memory, or like whatever, if you want to tell a story or anything. So it's just 5 words, and I'm gonna just go through them, and you can just say whatever comes to mind. So the first one is Atlanta.
Greatest city in the world.
Perfect. The second one, why is it the greatest city in the world though? I know we talked a lot about just, you know, it is pretty amazing, but why do you think?
It's just home.
Yeah.
It's my home. Like, I wouldn't want to be from nowhere else but Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be from New York. I don't want to be from LA. I don't want to be from... This is the greatest city in the world, man. Everything great here, man. The people, the food, the women, you know what I mean? Like... Man, we're just the greatest city ever. It is. It's
perfect. So my parents are from Chicago, and growing up, like I was always so thankful that I'm not from Chicago. Like I would not want, because I know I would be a completely different person. I wouldn't be me if I was, you know. And so I agree. Atlanta is just, it's home. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The next one is 2022. What comes to mind?
More success.
Yeah.
More success. Everything better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just everything leveling up, stepping up, everything.
Perfect. Love that. Family.
Family is just legacy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Family, that's all you got.
Yeah.
For real, you know what I mean? Family, that's all you got.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
agree.
when you leave, you know, people gonna love you
Mhm.
as soon as you leave, but
Yeah.
your family, them the people that's gonna, even 50 years after you're gone, them the people that's gonna still keep your name alive.
Right.
Like they're the ones who really love you. They're the
Mhm.
ones who really care for you. So family is just like legacy.
Yeah.
Like it's like
Perfect.
yeah,
Perfect day.
perfect day.
Perfect day.
Perfect day. Nah, that's my
day.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that.
Perfect day. Perfect day.
And then the last one is classic.
Timeless.
Yeah.
Timeless. Timeless. Just timeless. Here forever.
Mhm.
Just everlasting.
Mhm.
It's timeless. Like, you don't have no time limit on it. It's like a black hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a black hole. It's like light.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It just can't be penetrated. Like
Yeah.
classics. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's something that I always think about, like with classic albums. Niggas can live their whole life. If you do music, you can. If you know how hard it is for niggas like Jay-Z to have 7 like arguable classic albums.
Right.
Like that's like not regular.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
not regular at all.
Mhm.
But for most niggas, like for that one, you know what I mean, to have one, to have two, it's like DMX.
Mhm.
Niggas say, what's the shit in what was it, 98? When what was it? It's Dark and Hell is Hot. He had that,
Mhm.
and then what? Flesh of my flesh, blood of my
Mhm.
blood. It's like, you know, you got those.
Right.
You know what I mean? The only other niggas that I think that's like even coming close to shit like that, and it's to like the shit Jay did, is like niggas like Outkast.
Right.
Cause you got Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music, that's a classic.
Mhm.
You got ATLiens,
Mhm.
that's a classic.
Yeah.
You got fucking Aquemini,
Mhm.
that's a classic.
Yeah.
You got Stank on You, that's a classic. Like, you know what I mean? I think they say like, bro, they first 5 albums are like arguable classics. You know, now when you get to Idlewild and shit, you know, you like,
It's a little different. Yeah.
a little
yeah.
different.
Mhm.
But you know what I mean? But it's like them first 4 at least.
Yeah.
Those classics.
Yeah.
Same shit with Scarface.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like classic is just forever.
Yeah.
Like you can't be denied. It's the Illmatic.
I agree. So back to the project a little bit more before we get out of here. You talked a little bit about it too. It's called If I Wasn't Rapping. So I was in the car listening to the project, just trying to get a feel for it, see what was going on. And right before If I Was Rapping came on, I was just like thinking to myself, I was like, I wonder like what Kell would be doing if he wasn't rapping. And then when the song came on, I started laughing because I was like, damn, like just answer my question. So you talked a little bit about like real estate and just kind of like doing other things just outside of rapping. And I feel like nowadays you have to be dynamic and you have to have different things going on in order to be successful. Like you can't just, you know, so that you can't put all your eggs in one basket, so they say. So what are your thoughts on that, and like how do you make sure that you are like balancing, you know, I feel like music is one of your passions, so how do you balance that with like being a young adult and like having to do what you don't always want to do, you know, and just
That shit hard as fuck. Like, it's just, music is my passion, and it's like music is like trying to build your first business up off the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like you can choose to put all your energy in starting one business, or you could choose to disperse your energy and put it in 3, 4, or 5 different businesses. So that's one of the things, like, you know, or, you know, the quote of fucking 2021, diversifying your portfolio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like, that's what everybody's saying now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, music is like, it's like, it's not hard. It's hard not to, for me, it's hard not to put all my eggs in one basket because I look at music like a tool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why I think that's maybe why I said, like
when you're
for
not doing it.
For how long,
Yeah.
you know, like, I don't know how, because music is a tool.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at all the musicians who billionaires, they're not billionaires off of that music, off their catalog.
Right.
Their catalog might be worth 50 million, 70 million, 75 million, maybe 100 million. But they business, but they big because they business ventures. Kylie got a fucking $1 billion cosmetic line. Rihanna got a $1 billion fucking.
We still ain't got no album from Rihanna, but you know.
Right, you know what I mean, man? Ree ain't thinking about no music. Ree like, man, I don't gotta do shit no more.
Right.
I think that's what she like, man. All I gotta do is sit here and approve these lines, look at some shit, walk in here, be the boss, walk in, like, you can just tell.
Yeah.
Like, she walk around in fur coats every day. Like, it's like fur coats and house slippers and smoking. Like, Rihanna don't give a fuck no more.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how that shit is. Like, music is a tool. Like, I be, that's how my mind think of that shit. Like, music can get you a lot of money, but what you gonna do with the money?
Right.
So music can give you the opportunity to invest in whatever this startup company is, that company. Okay, oh, you want to do furniture, you want to make furniture. The money that you make from music, all this money that you make, you can turn that into another business.
Right.
So you don't have to fucking tour when you fucking 85.
Right.
You know what I mean? To keep getting paid. Like, you're setting up other things that can keep that shit flowing. So to me, it's kind of hard because it's like, I'm interested in other shit, but I just know what can come out of music.
Yeah.
And it's not only saying, like, because music is beneficial, because I love music to death.
Yeah.
And, you know, the minute I feel like I'm cheating this shit or I'm just doing this shit so I can just get me a big ass payday, I just kick it. Like, I just be like, man, I don't want to be no nigga remembered like I just robbed the industry. You know what I mean? Not, well, I don't know.
It's not the worst thing, though.
It's not the worst thing, because they robbing the fuck out of us.
I know, yeah.
They robbing the fuck out of us. So, you know what I mean? If I can goddamn pull off some Master P 2.0 shit, you know what I mean? Or some J type shit. If I can pull off some shit like that, I'll fuck with it. I'll fuck with it. But, I said all that shit to say, like, I'm not solely doing music just to fucking rob this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing it because of the love and the care for it. And, everything that come, you know, behind that.
Yeah.
But music is a tool. Like, and right now, most of my eggs are in the music basket. I'll say that. Like, I still got some eggs that's like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to try this. But right now, music is my sole focus. And life, like you were saying, how does life affect it, man? It's just like, what's, like, in life, it's just like, either you gonna let that shit stop you or you just gonna keep going.
Right.
Like, that's how I look at this shit. Like, yeah, we all tired.
Okay.
We tired as fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we tired as fuck, but do you want to be goddamn?
Yeah.
It's like, I thought about this shit a couple days ago. I was like, bro, if I just make sure I'm doing what I'm doing now, the next 10 years of my life can be the best 10 years of my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that shit, I might see myself in 10 years, and I might be like, damn, like, I ain't know life was gonna be like this. Like, this shit fire, this shit crazy. But I gotta stay down now.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't just mope about it. I can't make up excuse after excuse, because if I do that, I'm gonna be saying the same excuses in 10 years.
Right.
With bigger problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's for sure gonna be worse. Then I might have kids.
Right.
So now it's like, on top of me not really fucking with life, Now I got kids too.
Yeah.
Now, because I ain't take the time out to, you know what I mean? I ain't take the 2 years that, you know what I mean? It might take 5 years, it might take 1 year. Next year, you know what I mean? Next year, I might be seen on I might be standing on the Grammy stage next year. You know what I mean? And it's like, you never know. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
If you just stop.
Yeah.
If you just quit.
Exactly.
Like, so it's just like, just keep going.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw a quote today that reminds me of like what we're talking about, and it just said that like slow success builds character, and quick success builds ego, and it hit. I was like, oh yeah. You just, you know, it is difficult, like you said, like sometimes just like getting up in the morning is like, you know, it's rough, you know, but
I hate it.
But you just but you just, you know, like putting one foot in front of the other and like just
you
being
better.
Consistent, being consistent and just remembering like you never know what blessing is just like on the other side of you, just like continuing to pick your feet up.
Doing that shit. I texted one of my partners this morning. I said, slow money better than no money.
Yep.
Like, I told him some shit, and he was like, I don't know if I could do it this many times, but he was like, but over a certain amount of time, I can get that done.
Yeah.
I said, bro, I was like, bro, I don't give a fuck when the shit comes, just as long as the shit comes.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? As long as that shit comes, nigga, it's better to make this shit today, or make, you know what I mean, whatever the fuck you gonna get today, or over a period of time, as opposed to not getting nothing at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I agree with that shit. I agree with everything you said.
Yeah. But you know, we gonna get to it. It's nothing.
Money come.
It's
money
on the way.
What is that shit? Money come to me in abundance.
Yes,
Facts,
exactly.
man. Come on, affirmations.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
So, looking to the future, I know you said you, like, after you put out the Klassic tape, Volume 1, you already kind of knew, like, real quick what you wanted the next project to be like. So, is there going to be a Volume 2, or are you going to, like, go in a different direction? Or, like, what's on the way? What's on the way?
For the moment, it's not a Volume 2.
Okay.
For the moment, it might be a Volume 2 in 3 years, 4 years. I don't know.
Okay.
But for the moment, I'm like, the Klassic tape, I did the Klassic tape on Mars. Now I'm on Venus.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Now I'm over here. I'm exploring Venus right now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I might double back to Mars after I go to,
right.
after I go to fucking Saturn, after I go to Jupiter,
right.
after I come back to Earth, do some shit on Earth, then go to, I know Pluto ain't no planet no more, but
it's not. I didn't know that.
Nah, Pluto not.
I didn't know that.
They say it's just a big ass ice rock.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can't even. But still, I might go explore Pluto.
Heard.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just might go see what's up on Pluto, Mercury. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then once I did everything, I might be like, let me go back to Mars real quick. Like, let me go see. And that might be Volume 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it just depends on how I feel and what's the vibe from it.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to it. We can't wait to see what you're working on next year. Before, the end of the interview, I always like to open it back up to you, ask you if there's anything else you want to share with us, any questions I didn't ask you that you wish I would have, or what else do you want the people to know?
Let's see.
I always put people on the spot when I ask that.
You put me on the spot, man. Put me on the spot. I said, we got hunger pains, and it ain't enough to fill me. And we plotting on the bank, strategizing on the millie. It was me, Marv, Reggie, riding Chevy Coupe de Ville, looking clean like it's the 50s, like we weighing without no ceilings. We was riding down on that with a pack of the freshest sack. 2 bitches in the back, wetted in the paint that's on his lap. Looking for the act, when extinct, time to bring it back. We stumble on the nigga with the shit, we like, how much is that? Doper than the shit, I know you niggas sniffing. Homegrown villain, bad bitch getting. Here's another saying, just to calm down. Whew, shit. I ain't freestyling so long. I feel like I'm running out of breath doing this shit.
Thank you for blessing us.
Hell no, fuck this shit. Here's another saying, just to calm down your mans. We ain't never made no plans. It's just Netflix and chilling. I don't got shit else. I had shit, and I was twiddling through my mind, and I'm like, okay, I got shit that can rhyme. I got shit I can think of. But, damn, I ain't been put on the spot in a minute.
Great.
I'm
Thank
like,
you.
look.
We appreciate you.
Hey, I appreciate it, man.
Well, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for spending time with us at Stealth. We really appreciate it. We're going to get out of here and enjoy the rest of this evening in the greatest city in the world.
You ain't never asked me. It was a question we were supposed to come back
Oh,
to.
it was. I think it was it lessons that you learned? Is that what it was? Yeah.
Lessons that I learned from the project, man. I learned projects. I learned Rome not built overnight.
Yes.
I learned, so when I set out to do my first project, I thought I was gonna do that shit in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm gonna write all these songs. I'm gonna do. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking for real. I just thought that I was gonna do that shit in like the blink of an eye.
Right.
And that shit ain't working. It ain't working. I had started promoting it and everything. Mm-hmm. Klassic Tape was really like my second attempt at doing a project.
Okay.
I had did another project that I attempted. I had dropped the cover art. I was like, yo, it's coming out this time.
Right.
That time came, no project.
Yeah.
Ran it back like, yo, we pushed it back. It's gonna come out this time, but I'm still working on it.
Right.
And now I just realized, like, take your time and do the shit. Take your time and get the shit done first. Yeah. Like, take your shit. Yeah. Just.
And you're not on anybody else's time, but you're on. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Like,
Facts.
You can't compare your journey to other people's journey. You gotta work at your
facts. And that's the thing. I don't think I ever compared it, but I think that I got ahead of myself.
Yeah.
So now I think that I know, like, just don't get ahead of yourself.
Right.
Just take it. Take it. Just take the shit day by day, session by session, song by song. And you'll know when that shit right. Like, when the Klassic Tape was finished, I knew that shit was finished. Right. It wasn't like I told people this date and I'm still trying to meet the date. Like, it wasn't none of that. So it gave me the time, like, even though I had motherfuckers on my back, like, when you gonna put some shit out? When you gonna put some shit out? And I'm telling niggas, like, I would just tell niggas, like, bro, it's coming. Yeah. That was like my number one answer. It's coming, bro. It's coming. I don't know when. Yeah. I can't tell you when, because I don't want to even put that restriction on myself, like, but, you know, yeah, man, just Rome not built overnight. Like, just take your time. That's my answer for everybody. You know what I mean? And whatever you doing in life, take your time, man. See that shit all the way through. Yeah. Don't half-ass that shit. Don't cut no corners, like, cause it's something that I always tell myself, like, with this project and everything that, especially with music. Beat the critics before the critics get to you. You know what I mean? So, if you know you cut corners, it only take one person to come and expose that flaw for what you did. You know what I mean? You knew you cutting corners. Right. I'm in music too. You in music too. Right. I see on this song that you ain't really like, these two songs good. This song, you ain't get the same mix on this song that you got on these two songs. You know what I mean? I feel like most people do shit like that, and they like, it's like my mom used to tell me, you can't bullshit.
Right, I've heard that too.
For real.
I think my dad used to say that.
Because that shit real. It is. You know what I mean? So it's like, bro, don't cut no corners. Like, I don't care if that shit take you 5 years to make. Right. Like, do the shit the right way. See that shit all the way through. And then when that shit ready, put that shit out. But don't move at the tempo of nobody else. Like, just, answer your calling, get that shit out, and then go from there. So, yeah.
That's all I got for you.
I fuck with you, man.
Yeah, it was good.
This was fun, man.
It was
this was
fun. I know they're always fun.
Hey, man, I'm gonna have to really tap in with you, man. I'm gonna really have to tap in, man. I've been asleep. I ain't gonna lie, I've been asleep, but You know what I mean? Thanks to the good people that you're around, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They put me on,
Yeah.
so it's nice to, it's nice to meet you.
Of course, nice to meet you.
I enjoyed this interview. This is probably one of the dopest interviews I done did.
You're not
you
the
know
first
what I mean?
person that said that.
See, you know what I mean? It's facts then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
But
All right.
yeah, man, I fuck with you, man.
Okay.
Shout out.
Until next time.